for today's lecture, we will be moving on to another major type of our tissues, and this time we will be talking about the connective tissue. So, coming from its name, connective, this tissue basically functions to connect all of the other types of tissues to one another. For example, as what we have discussed earlier when we were talking about the epithelial tissue, the epithelial tissue can be connected to the muscle tissue layers of a specific organ through the connective tissue and vice versa. Okay? Um, the connective tissue, as we will discover later, can be found in a variety of ways. No, it has multiple manifestations, both physically, morphologically, because it has a lot of different functions. Because it is the tissue that needs to connect all the other types of other major tissues with one another in different parts of the bodies, in different organs, which will usually have different functionalities or physiology, right? For example, some areas of the body would need your more sturdy, more rigid style of connective tissue, while other parts would need a more softer style of tissue, while other parts will need to function more for transport. And this type of connective tissue needs to be needs to fit inside the blood vessel, so it needs to be more fluid, more liquid. Cells are more dispersed, or some type of connective tissue will be for cushioning of organs or for the keeping regulating internal body temperature as well. So it depends, no? So as we go on, we will learn that there are a lot of different types of connective tissues because there's a lot of functionalities that they have to do. Okay, so again, connective tissues, we finished this one. This is your epithelial. This time around, we will be talking about this one, maybe this one as well, and this one as well, and this one and this one. All of these are actually your specific types of connective tissues. They are found connecting, for example, one tissue, your epithelial tissue, to your muscle tissue, and they are, if I would say, one of the most widespread type of major tissue. Okay, I think no organ lacks connective tissue. Okay, you can almost always see connective tissue everywhere. Okay, when there are tissues that needed to be attached with one another or cushioned or whatever, there would be connective tissue there. Okay, so what is connective tissue composed of? Just like any other tissue, of course, you would have your cells. And for the cells, the primary form of cells would be your fibroblasts, because we will learn later that aside from the cells, a major component of your connective tissue would be your fibers. Okay, so these fibroblasts, they will be the cells which are producing the fibers. And then you would have your differently named cells, resident cells of specific type of tissues, and that these cells, depending on the last part of their name, is it may be cyte or blast. So adipocyte, chondrocyte, osteocyte, or adipoblast, chondroblast, or osteoblast. It depends. No, they will change your name whether they are the actual mature, highly functioning resident cells of that connective tissue, or if they are the blast type or the younger cells of that connective tissue, or those cells which are still producing substances that are integral to that specific tissue. So these are the more younger ones, immature ones, and this would be your cyte would be your mature one. Okay, and class would be the resident cells of your specific connective tissues, which function more for the transformation, reformation, or remodeling of that tissue. So we will learn more about these clasts, no, later on in the different lectures. Then, finally, in connective tissue, we can also find immune cells, no? Such as your macrophages, plasma mast cells, and white blood cells, especially in your connective tissue proper, which is not specialized. Of course, all of these cells later we will learn that they can be found in your special type of connective tissue, such as your blood or your hematopoietic cells. But even if it is not your blood or your hematopoietic tissues, you can still see this immune cells interspersed. Either they are normally found there in small quantities, or if there are injury or inflammation in the site, you can see that there will be a lot of these immune cells. Okay, then you would have your extracellular matrix. So first, cells, and these cells are embedded in an extracellular matrix. The extracellular matrix is composed of your fibers. So again, these fibers are produced by your blasts, your fibroblasts, no? And there are three major types of fibers that can be seen in your connective tissue. You would have your collagen, your elastic, and your reticular fibers. Out of these three, your collagen fiber would be the most ubiquitous. It is almost all of your connective tissues would have this type of fiber. While elastic fiber usually goes hand in hand with collagen. So if the connective tissue needs more elasticity and sturdiness or stretch, then elastic fiber will join your collagen fiber. Okay? While your reticular fiber is usually seen um, either with only collagen or elastic, but this is the rarest of them three. Okay? Then, of course, aside from the fibers, you would have your ground substance. The ground substance, interestingly, is the material wherein both your cells and your fibers are embedded or floating. Okay, so this would be the ground substance can either manifest as a liquid form, as with your blood, yes, and hematopoietic tissue, or in solid form, as with all the other more sturdy versions of your connective tissue, which we will be talking about more in this lecture session. And then, of course, there's the middle ground between the liquid and solid, which will be more jelly-like consistency. Okay. Anyway, the ground substance would be the substance that is filling up the other space within your connective tissue that is not occupied by your cells nor your fibers. Okay? So there is usually no space or lumen in your connective tissue. No, it's usually full of substances. Okay, and this substance can either be liquid, as with your blood, semi-liquid, as with your areolar connective tissue. This is like squishy form, or solid, as with your bone and cartilages. Okay. For the cells of connective tissue, as we have said earlier, majority of them would be your fibroblasts, which are actually the ones producing the fibers. So the fibroblasts are usually spindle shaped, okay, or fusiform shape. So that's its nuclei will manifest itself as flattened, usually flattened, depending on the type of fibers that it is producing, but usually it's flattened or very, very spindle shaped. While, of course, the other types of cells are your immune cells that we were talking about. So, immune cells will be the same as your macrophages, neutrophil, eosinophil, the same ones that you would usually see in your blood smear. So, for those who are already taking physiology or has already seen blood under the microscope. Okay. So another photo of a looser, this is a loose type of connective tissue. You can see that your fibroblast cells have more space. That's why they are more plump here, while the fibroblasts in another type of connective tissue wherein there's a lot of fibers, they are more flattened, no? And again, only the nuclei is seen, okay? So these are your fibroblasts. And as we said earlier, some types of cells can only be seen in specific connective tissue, such as this one. This is actually your cartilage, a type of supportive connective tissue, and this dark violet cells in empty looking, clear looking containers would be your chondrocytes. While these image showing a section from your bone would show different resident cells of your bones. So you have your osteo, site, blast, and clast. Okay, so we'll be talking more about that when we talk about the supportive tissues. But for now, we just have to realize that there is a lot of ways by which these resident cells of your connective tissue can show themselves. No, some are flattened, some are plump, some are within spaces, some are just floating wherever, some can be seen with lots of fibers, etc. Okay, so again, with the cells of connective tissue, since they perform a lot of functions, then they would have different shapes and morphology. This is another type of cell of your connective tissue. This is actually your adipose cells or adipocytes. So in your adipose connective tissue, you can see that they are usually signet cell shaped. We will be talking about how they look like later. But again, you can see what's evident is that they look so different from the other cells that we have talked about earlier. Okay? And for the fibers, so here, if it's a loose type of connective tissue, we can already see that some fibers are thicker and lace-like, okay, while others are very thin and hair-like. So the lace-like, broader, thicker fibers are your collagen fibers, and the one that is hair-like and very thin and darkly staining, that would be your elastic fibers. Another version of your collagen fibers, this one, if in some connective tissues wherein there's a lot of collagen fibers, they would look like this. They would manifest as like one, almost looking like one continuous sheets. But you can see here that these are your lacy, light, pink, translucent, broad, thick collagen fibers. Again, collagen fibers here, translucent pinkish, and here still you can see the flat, thin fibroblast cells that we were talking about earlier, or fibrocytes. While in this case, you can see that aside from the collagen pink broad fibers, we have your thinner and branching and darker staining elastic fibers. Okay. Another preparation of your elastic fibers would be your aorta, or any organ that needs a lot of resilience and needs elasticity. So your aorta would need that because, of course, the aorta handles blood with very, very high pressure, no? So here, high volume as well as pressure. So it needs the support of your elastic fibers. So all these squiggly, black, curly black fibers would be your elastic fibers together with interspersed with your lighter staining pink collagen fibers. While here you can see your reticular fibers. Your reticular fibers, on the other hand, are shaped or arranged in a very net-like structure, thus the name reticular fibers. Rete, ret, which means net-like or web-like, diba? It looks like the branching of the tree. So for both your reticular fibers and your elastic fibers, you will need special staining other than your H&E in order to visualize them. Okay? But later we will be talking more about it. So let's zoom out again and try to classify the types of connective tissue. So earlier we were talking about the major components of your connective tissue, which is the cells, the fibers, and the ground substance. And then we tried to describe what are the different types of cells and fibers. Now let's try to see in which type of connective tissue are they seen? Actually, in all types, no? So, for the two major subdivision of your connective tissue, you would have your embryonal or adult connective tissue. They are classified based on when they are found in the over the course or the lifetime of the animal. Of course, for the embryonal, it will be during the embryonal stage before the animal is born. Okay? For embryonal, you would have your mesenchymal and your mucoid. While for the adult, you would have your connective tissue proper type and your specialized type. For the connective tissue proper, you would have further subtypes. You would have your loose type, wherein there's are more cells than there are fibers. Again, loose type, more cells, while the dense type would have more fibers than cells. Okay? So these loose and dense names actually pertains to how they basically look like and how they feel and what's their texture grossly. Ano? Okay? So for the loose, you would have your areolar, your adipose, your reticular. So we have already talked about this a little bit earlier. And for the dense, you would have your regular and your irregular type. And this regular and irregular type basically describes the orientation of the fibers that is a very, very high amount or seen in a high amount in the dense type of connective tissue proper. For the regular dense connective tissue, you would have your dense white fibrous connective tissue, your elastic dense connective tissue proper. And then for the specialized type, we will be allocating separate meetings or video topics for these specialized connective tissues. You would have your blood and your hematopoietic tissues, or the tissue that will give rise to the actual blood. And then you would have your cartilage and bone, which are basically more supportive in nature. Okay. What is connective tissue for? Earlier, we said that epithelial tissue is more for protection, right? For diffusion, exchange, and then for the glandular type, it's for the production and secretion of substances. For the connective tissue, it basically supports and serves as a framework for these other tissues, okay? It, again, coming from its name, connective tissue, it connects all the other types of major tissues together. It also offers protection in some way or another because it gives cushion to majority of the organs that is covered by this connective tissue, or it also provides cushion and protection to some structures within an organ. Okay. It also provides storage, especially for your adipose type of connective tissue, which basically stores energy and other substances. Okay. Transport also for the transport of substances as well as transport of immune cells as well. And then for defense, especially for your blood and your other connective tissue, areolar connective tissue, which can also harbor immune cells within them. So again, defense of the body against injury and foreign material. So it's again a function of your connective tissue. So what can we say about this? Connective tissue has a lot of function. That's why there is a lot of ways in which connective tissue manifests itself. Diba? There's a lot of size and shape and texture that we can have for connective tissue. Okay, so let's go back to this classifications of a connective tissue and let's focus on the embryonal type. Okay, again, coming from its name, the embryonal connective tissue basically can only be seen in the embryo. Okay, for majority of the connective tissue that is found in the embryo, you would have your mesenchymal type of embryonal connective tissue, and it is characterized by stellate or star-shaped cells, and as well as fine collagen fibers, and all of them are embedded in your extracellular matrix. So these blank spaces are not actually empty, okay? There is a jelly-like type of extracellular ground matrix wherein they are embedded, okay? While in this area or in the umbilical area, this is a cross section of this umbilical area. This part here in between your structures such as your umbilical arteries, veins, and allantoic duct, all of these we don't really have to understand as long as you know that all the other parts here is actually your mucoid type of embryonal connective tissue. So a key difference between your mesenchymal would be first the shape of the um, cells in your mucoid type of embryonal connective tissue is not plump, it's thinner, it's more flattened, it's more spindle shaped. But still, we can see a lot of collagen fibers. What else? Most often than not, usually, your mesenchymal cells would be more dense populated with cells than your mucoid type. So, subgrossly, you can see this because your mucoid type of connective tissue would usually be less, would have a lighter stain than your mesenchymal connective tissue. Your mesenchymal connective tissue is actually the type of connective tissue that serves as a placeholder for future adult type of connective tissue, such as muscle tissue, nervous tissue, etc. So while they are still in their premature form, so they are still not differentiating into their final connective tissue cells or other um, major type of tissue, so they would assume the uh, the um, the figure of your mesenchymal uh, tissue. Okay, so again, the mesenchymal tissue is usually all the other tissues here within the embryo that is not yet developing into actual organs. Okay, so it's like a placeholder tissue, while your mucoid tissue is for the umbilical area. Okay. Another term for your mucoid connective tissue would be your Wharton's jelly. Again, because if you would see this grossly, it is jelly-like in nature. Okay? So, of course, you would have your mesenchymal cells here and here. And then your fibroblast will be the more flattened cells, such as this one. They are the ones producing the collagen. Okay? Collagen. Okay, these mesenchymal and mucoid cells would also have your cellular processes as well, but these cellular processes are very difficult to distinguish from actual collagen fibers. Okay, and of course, there's also your reticular fibers, but in routine H and E stain sections, you cannot see these reticular fibers. Okay. Next, let's go to the connective tissue proper and let's talk about the loose type of connective tissue proper. Again, in the loose type of connective tissue proper, you would have more cellular component than the fiber component. So for the areolar connective tissue proper, it's usually seen beneath your, what's this part? What's this type of tissue? We already finished with this type of tissue. This is actually your epithelial tissue. And as I said earlier, underneath the epithelial tissue, underneath the basement membrane, you would have your loose type of connective tissue. Okay, so we already saw this image later. This is actually a loose type of connective tissue because there are more cellular components than the fibrous component. Again, more cellular component than the fibrous component. If there is more fibrous component or fiber component, you would not be able to see a lot of extracellular substance in the middle, nor would you see a lot of plump looking connective tissue cells. Okay, so again, this is your loose or areolar connective tissue. Again, the fibers, you can have a combination of your collagen fibers, this pinkish broad looking ones, and your elastic fibers, this hair like structures. And again, you would have your fibroblasts, which are the ones producing the fibers. Okay. Next, we have also your adipose type of connective tissue proper. Again, it is a loose type. Again, grossly, it is not hard as your bone or cartilage, and it's very soft, right? Your adipose connective tissue is made up of a lot of your adipocytes or adipose cells, which are also termed as your signet ring cells. Signet means what? Of course, it's named after your signet rings, which are basically rings bearing the logo or the signature of your family. And then in the olden times when you would send letters, right, to one family or to another kingdom, then they would use this signet ring in order to embed the family sign or logo into the melted wax. Okay, so these are your signet rings, and they say that this signet rings look like the adipocytes. So so they call it as your signet ring. Okay, this part will correspond to the flattened nuclei on one side. Okay. This signet ring appearance holds true actually only for the white type of adipose tissue, because there are actually your brown type of adipose tissue wherein the lipid droplets within the cell or adipocyte is smaller and comes in uh, multiple smaller forms, unlike your white adipocyte when there is only one lipid droplet. Okay? What else? In the brown adipocyte, as I told you earlier, you would have a lot of mitochondria. This one. That's why, grossly, the mitochondria or the high concentration of mitochondria would manifest itself as what? Color brown. That's why the color of this adipose tissue, which is usually working for the metabolism, which and is usually found in animals that hibernate, such as your bears, then you would have this brown adipocytes. You can also see this in younger animals, no? In very very young animals, because it helps in the regulation of temperature. Okay, so this will be your white, and this will be your brown adipocyte. And apparently, there is a middle ground between the two that is termed as your bright or beige adipose. So the function of this would be in the middle, or a combination of your brown and white. So white is for energy storage, brown is more for thermoregulation and temperature regulation and um, uh, metabolism. Okay. Next, reticular connective tissue. Reticular connective tissue is primarily made up of the net-like pattern of your reticular fibers. Again, the reticular tissue, in order for it to be visualized, you need to use a special stain, okay? And here in the section of a lymph node, you would see there's a lot of lymphocytes that is being supported by your reticular fibers. And here in the liver, we talked about this before, you can see that the cells that is being supported by reticular fibers are now hepatocytes, where in the spleen, you would see hematopoietic cells, which are also seen in the spleen, being supported by your branching net-like reticular fibers. So these reticular fibers are so cool, and they have a very characteristic pattern. And we have a lot of good slides showing your reticular fibers and reticular tissue in the lab. Okay, so I hope you take the time to examine them. Okay, now let's move to the dense type of connective tissue proper. So that is also found in the adult. Okay, you would have your regular type, and we would have your dense white fibrous connective tissue, which is basically made up of a lot of bundles of collagen fibers. So this is the same one that we have been showing earlier. As you can see, there are very few cells in this type of tissue, connective tissue, because it is already dense with fibers. Okay, so a lot of fibers. This is a dense type, but still you can see flattened versions of your fibroblasts. The dense white fibrous connective tissue specifically is also known as your tendon, and it is white grossly, okay? While your elastic connective tissue, it is still underdense because there are more fibers than there are cells, and you cannot even see the cells anymore actually. And as we said earlier in this photo, this is actually taken from the wall of an artery, specifically your aorta. Okay, again, your elastic fibers would be the dark staining ones. And these dark staining fibers are only achievable if you use a special stain, also known as your Verhoeven stain. Okay, one example. Okay, so here in this photo, you can see that although this is also an elastic type of connective tissue, here you can only see the pink fiber, the collagen fibers, because the elastic fibers that is seen here is not seen here because it's not stained by a special stain. So the elastic fibers just show themselves as looking like blank spaces, okay? Still, you can see fibroblast nuclei, okay? And here you can see that since there are a lot of elastic fibers interspersed between your collagen fibers, the collagen fibers look like as if they have thinner diameters than your dense white fibrous connective tissue which do not have a lot of elastic fibers with them. Only collagen fibers. Again, a lot of collagen fibers and collagen fibers with a lot of elastic tissue. Okay? So these your elastic connective tissue, your elastic dense connective tissue is not purely made out of elastic fibers. Okay? Your elastic fibers will still need the support of your collagen fibers. Okay? But this type of dense connective tissue is termed as elastic because of the abundance of elastic fiber. Okay? So it seems like so it's like collagen fiber is usually present, almost always present. Okay? And then if an additional type of special fiber, such as your elastic and reticular is included, then it will change its name. Okay? Again, this is a more zoomed in version of this photo at the back. You can see you have your collagen pink fibers, and then you would have your elastic, darkly staining dark purple elastic fibers. Grossly, your dense white fibrous connective tissue without a lot of elastic fibers will only look or will show a color white appearance grossly. That's why it's called white fibrous connective tissue. So your tendon. And then, for the elastic fibers, one example is your ligamentum nuchae. Okay? It will show your elastic fibers actually shows up as color yellow grossly. Okay? So you can differentiate your elastic type of dense connective tissue with your white or dense white fibrous connective tissue by its color grossly. But under the microscope, you would be needing a special stain. But you can also assume based on the thickness of the collagen fibers. Okay? Finally, we have your irregular connective tissue proper. You would have your dense irregular connective tissue proper. So the dense irregular, the irregular term actually pertains to the orientation of the fibers. Your dense irregular connective tissue basically looks like your DWFCT earlier, but the only difference is the orientation of the fibers is irregular in nature. Because in the DWFCT or tendon, the orientation is only in one direction. Okay? But for the dense irregular, the orientation is all over the place, no? This is especially true and this is needed by parts or by tissues that need to be connected in areas wherein the possible direction of tension is not in just one direction. For example, in the joint capsules or in the dermis, it is possibly exposed to different directions of tension. Okay? While for the tendon, which usually connects your muscle to your bone, the tension is just straight from here to here, right? Only one direction. Okay? While in your skin or in the joint capsules, we need a more multi-directional sturdy type of connective tissue. Okay, so try to pinch your skin or yeah, try to pinch your skin. You will feel that there is tension no matter in which direction you will pull it, and this is thanks to the irregular direction of the collagen fibers in your dense irregular connective tissue. Okay. Of course, if we're gonna talk about organology, the dense irregular connective tissue that you can see here, which is made up mostly of collagen fibers, will have a different name based on the different layer of the skin as an organ. But for now, what's important is you're able to identify that, oh, this top layer is epithelial tissue. And this layer at the bottom is already a different type of major tissue. It is a connective tissue. And that this epithelial tissue here is actually a stratified squamous, thick or thin keratinized tissue, right? While at the bottom is a dense, irregular, adult type of connective tissue. So again, as what we have said earlier, the body and the organs is actually made up of a combination of a major types of tissue. But don't forget that these major types of tissues, may it be connective, muscle, nervous, or epithelial, have different names, no, depending on their subtypes or specific subclassifications. Okay? So again, this is another zoomed in photo of your dense irregular connective tissue wherein the irregularity of the direction of the collagen fibers is more pronounced. Okay? So again, unlike the ones that you see in the tendon, the direction of the fibers is very, very irregular and multi-directional. Again, don't forget to accomplish the attendance form for this session. Thank you.